Hello everyone, this is me Anthony, and this is a quick trigger warning for what you're about to watch. If you're watching the video, this has to do a lot with self-harm and suicide and all that other stuff that might trigger a few people. Down in the description when a video is uploaded is going to be a few hotlines, for uh suicide hotlines, yeah. And so there's going to be a few hotlines down there. Again, if you are going through something and you feel like you're gonna do some damage to yourself or anything, be sure to call someone, talk to someone. There's people out there for you. You're not alone. And yeah, that's really about it. Just a quick trigger warning, and I'll see you guys some other time. What's up, guys? My name is Anthony, and this is a very different form of video. Normally, I don't. Well, I haven't really done much, but normally I don't really record these type of videos when I was on YouTube. But this is a situation that I kind of do want to get into and speak more about, because it's a thing. I know it's a little old, not old. It's been 3 weeks, so, and yet people don't really know what's going on, and so I feel like this is a good chance to have more people become aware. If you haven't seen anybody else talk about it, or this is the first time you're listening to it, I really recommend checking on people like the Anime Man, right, who spoke about the situation. There's countless other people who's also spoken about it. So again, if you want more deep into the whole thing, I suggest maybe checking them out. This is the overall overview of what happened and this whole situation, which is very very strange, because it doesn't make sense in the form of the fan base, which again we're gonna go into, right. So let's, to start with the whole gist of what exactly occurred. Oshi No Ko is an anime. If you don't know what the anime is, or you probably do know because you clicked on the video, but Oshi No Ko basically criticizes and talks about the darker side of the entertainment industry, including idols, actors, actresses, that whole thing. And recently, not so long ago, episode 6 came out, and it had to do with the basically there's this part of the episode, right, that goes into cyber harassment, in which one of the characters, which her name is Akane, I believe that's how it's pronounced. She says something on a reality show, and so she starts getting a bunch of harassment online, to the point where she tries to commit, she tries to end her own life. And in that process, one of the main characters, known as Aqua, saves her from jumping off the bridge that she's about to jump off from, and pulls her back. And that is basically the whole that's basically how that whole episode thing went. And so when that episode came out, a mother filed a complaint to I believe was the network that was showcasing the anime, and filed a complaint because she believed that the episode followed too similar to a situation that happened to her daughter. And so she didn't like that whole aspect of the episode, so she was really upset by it. And so the mother of this specific person is the mother of a famous Japanese wrestler, or at least professional wrestler, yeah. So she's really well known. And this wrestler, you know, her name is Hana. I believe it's pronounced Kimura. I'm not really sure how to really pronounce it properly, but I think that's how it's pronounced. And so she ended up taking her own life back in 2020, not so long ago. So it's a more or less recent, at least from what I've seen here. And this happened after a reality show in which I believe she either said something. I believe she said something that did not sit well with people, and so she ended up being cyberbullied to the point where she ended up taking her own life. And so what ended up happening, right, was recently Oshi No Ko, um, putting out the episode. A friend of the mother watched it, and it triggered this traumatic memories of what happened to Hana and what they went through because of it. Because in Oshi No Ko, they basically like follow, in the sense, in their like point of view, they follow the same thing that happened to Hana. They basically just like repeated it, right, to this character of Akane. And so, they felt like they're just like using her daughter's like tragedy, they're using Hana's, situation as like, as a like, just they're just using the story. And so, they felt like hurt by it, and the mother especially, who ended up like filing the complaint to the people who were like showing the anime, because she felt like her daughter's like story is being like used as this like to basically for this anime. So they basically just like using her tragedy for like basically like their own benefit. And again, like, we don't truly know that because we're not the author, and I don't think he's like said anything. But it's also the idea of like, Hana is not like the only like, famous person who's like gone through something like this to the point where they end up like taking their own life. Because this has happened to many other idols and actors and pop stars, K-pop. There's been a mass amount of, people who've like gone through this situation to the point when they kind of just, at points they take away their own life. And I'm not saying like, this they didn't take inspiration from Hana's story, because I believe, at least from what I've heard in like the anime man Joey's like video, that there's like some degree of inspiration that they took from Hana's like tragedy. And so and again, like, the mother found the complaint, and so people started to attack the author about it, right? Because to them they felt like, oh, now you're just like using this like person's like, you know incident for your own like benefit. We don't know that. We don't know the exact, circumstance of like, oh, like how far, if they did like, to what degree did they follow it. Was it like only the harassment? We don't know that, and we probably won't until like the author says something, which I'm not sure if he did or didn't, but that's like besides the thing. And now I do want to like, now I do want to like get into the whole like toxic fandom aspect that I did want to get into, and it's the fact that because the mother filed the complaint, a lot of the Oshi No Ko like fans, and I'm gonna put like fans in quotation marks because they're not fucking fans, they're just fucking assholes. They went out of their way and started to harass the mother because she filed a complaint to about the anime. And so they ended up like harassing the mother because of it. And shoving it in her face, the whole like, oh, like, losing the daughter, telling her to like get over it, to stop complaining too much. And it's like, what is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? The lack of empathy, or it's not hard to be sympathetic. It's not hard to be empathetic. It's not hard to be a decent fucking person. Just be like, I'm sorry for your loss, and fucking go away, or don't tell the mother to go away. The toxic people, get the fuck out of here. It's not hard to just be a decent person. Pay your respects. It's not that fucking hard. But instead, you end up just doing the exact thing that the anime shoves in your face to not fucking do. I don't know why you decided to like start this fucking bullshit claim, right? Of like harassing the mother for no fucking reason. The mother had every right to be upset in her fucking point of view, because as far as we know, the story might have taken inspiration from it, and of course she's gonna be fucking hurt by it, because again, like I like mentioned before, her daughter's story is basically being used for this character's like fucking tragedy, right? And we don't know whether it is or isn't, and we probably won't know. But again, I don't think that, Hana's story and Hana's like situation was the baseline for this episode, because again, there's been a lot of other, idols and actors and etc., right, that are like gone through the same thing with cyberbullying and getting into this sort of like deep depression to the point where they want to attempt or have made, ended their life. And so there's no point to attack the mother, again, this is a mother of a professional wrestler, someone who's a part of the fucking industry. You're being an asshole to them, and it makes no fucking sense. Again, it's not that hard to be a decent person. It's not that hard to just pay your respects. Like, what is wrong with the fucking fan base? And again, this is a small minority of the fan base, which is also the fucking loudest, which is the worst part of this whole situation. Because not every fan is like this. And again, it fucking sucks that it occurred because this, again, literally the same episode shows you don't do this shit because it's not a fucking good idea and it's a fucking shitty thing to do because it fucking hurts people. And these fans just fucking push that all aside and end up doing the exact thing they're literally being shown not to do, with the consequences being shoved in their fucking face. And it fucking sucks that it occurred. And I can't say I'm like super surprised that it even did, because I know it's not every anime fan, but a good chunk of the fans are fucking assholes for some reason. Again, it's not everyone, but the toxic minority is usually the loudest fucking assholes in the world. And so that whole thing occurred, and it fucking sucks because again, the mother did not deserve that fucking treatment in any sort of capacity. And well, I hope she's like doing well now, because Jesus fucking Christ, what is wrong with people? But again, to really end this off, because it's really just like an overview of like what occurred. Like, I really hope the fan base like gets like through this whole thing, because again, this kind of just left a bad reputation or a bad like stain on the fan base itself. Even though it's a small minority, it's also one of the loudest motherfuckers out there. And being a fan, or at least a newer fan of the show, it sucks to see that people are not listening to what they're being literally shown to their fucking faces and being taught about the industry. And so they, especially when it comes down to cyber harassment, so they just push that shit out the fucking way. Like, if you can sympathize with a fucking anime character, you can fucking be sympathetic to a fucking actual fucking person. And, to really just finish this off, right? So I hope the mother of like Hana gets like, through this whole thing, and I hope she feels better, and hopefully she moves past this whole like incident, and in general manages to, feel much more better from this whole thing. And hopefully Hana herself, she's resting well. It's a awful thing that happened, and I hope no one else, and I know it's not something that's possible, but I hope people don't go through a similar situation. And again, please, as a fan base, especially when it comes to an anime like this, that's literally teaching you about the dark side of the fucking industry, don't be an asshole. It's not hard to be sympathetic. It's not hard to be a decent person. And that's basically about it, because there really isn't much more to really get into apart from criticizing the fan base. But I hope, things get better in general. And that's really about it. So I'll see you guys, some other time. And yeah, you know, I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Again, be respectful for towards other people, especially if you don't know them. And yeah, that's about it. See you guys.